All right, good morning, everyone. I want to run through kind of the forecast thinking here for the next few days and get into the potential weekend winter storm that has been coming into a bit more clarity over the last couple days as we've seen some trends emerge that are hard to ignore. So, overall, confidence continues to increase in a potentially significant winter storm this weekend. The timing overall is going to be sometime early Saturday through Sunday. It's a big window, I know, but it's unclear exactly how much it could potentially be a frozen precip early Saturday, how long it could stay as regular rain. There's a lot of uncertainty there. But overall, kind of that window with the highest confidence being kind of overnight Saturday into Sunday. Um, and then as part of the timing, I want to note that behind this system, it's going to be quite cold with another Arctic air mass kind of following in behind it. So anything that does fall will not, clear out the next day like we kind of usually see with winter events in the South. So overall, hazards and impacts, not much change here from what we kind of messaged yesterday. Just a bit higher confidence in a mix of all winter weather hazard types, from sleet, snow, freezing rain, just regular rain, depending where you're at. Accumulations and impacts are still not certain. I don't want to get into any specifics about how much snow, sleet, or freezing rain we're expecting because it's still too far out with 4+ days still to go. But I will say that even though there's a range of impacts from a nuisance event to a pretty high impact event, this is a high ceiling event compared to what we usually see in the South, where unlike the storm last week, we kind of knew that wasn't going to be a big travel or infrastructure problem based on the nature of it. This event, however, could be based on both the meteorological setup and the model consensus that we're seeing already. The potential for a high impact event is definitely there. All right, so let's get into a little bit about that. So I just want to show this is the GFS model. I normally wouldn't show just a single model, but the consensus is fairly good across all the models that this is fairly representative. But again, don't take any of this for gospel here. More of the idea of what the setup looks like and why we're fairly confident in what we're expecting this weekend. So overall, just over the next couple days, we have a really strong high pressure will come overhead. I have a very cold night Tuesday into Wednesday with lows kind of around 20 again. Then we warm up a bit for Thursday and Friday, and then there's this very strong surge of cold air that starts to develop as we get into Friday night into Saturday. Comes out of Canada, really strong high pressure, big cold dome that pushes down into the central and eastern US. As that happens, we get a kind of plume of moisture that develops along the southern periphery of it and kind of overruns and overspreads the southern extent of that cold air. And as a result, we get a mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, regular rain all across the southern US that extends into our area, just to give you a sense of the mess of precip types that are possible with this event. If we take a look at the ensemble guidance that is going to give you a better picture of the kind of the spectrum of possibilities from this. Here, this looks at all 150 models that are into those ensembles, and then kind of shows the probability based on certain parameters. In this case, this is the probability of 2-meter temperature below freezing and the 6-hour precip greater than 1/4 of an inch. So as we move into Saturday, those probabilities start to increase, 10 to 25% across parts of our forecast area, and then really ramps up as we move overnight Saturday and into Sunday with some pretty high probabilities here, especially considering it's over 100 hours out in forecast time. 50 to 75% chance to see 1/4 of an inch of precip that would either fall as snow, sleet, or freezing rain with temperatures below freezing. That continues into early Sunday morning and then should start to wrap up late Sunday. But then again, behind this, we are pretty confident it's going to be quite cold. So whatever does fall may stick around. So then just to kind of summarize, we take a look at the probability of at least minor weather impacts from this event from WPC here. You can see a pretty impressive swath of those high probabilities to see at least minor impacts from this event. And is definitely one we're going to be keeping an eye on, and we'll keep you all updated here later this morning or this afternoon. So far, we'll have a briefing out at least again on Wednesday morning with any updates. So have a good one.